I don't think the 48 of Jimmie Johnson has something to say about this battle. He's been slowly but surely making his way forward. This is such a great track for him that I think that experience can maybe get him that first top 10 of this season.
You know who has the most wins here? Jimmie Johnson. You know who's led the most laps here?
Jimmie Johnson.
You know who has the most top fives here?
Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson. Let's get an update on Kevin Harvick's damage.
Mike, you see Jimmie Johnson here in the 48 car. I know we still have a lap and a half to go before the end of stage 1. If he can stay in the top 10, this will be the first stage points that Jimmie Johnson has scored in 2018.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
You know what that tells me? One brick at a time. They're working their way back.
Well, Johnson,
one brick at a time.
Johnson looking for his first top 10 finish in the last 10 races. Final lap, stage 1.
So Keselowski trying to get to the inside quarter pound of the 78.
Hey, what about that car with a 48 on it?
Yeah, where did he come from?
Look at him up in there.
After pit stops, Johnson restarted 5th.
He's going to go to 4th.
Mike, you know what Camaro means? You know the definition of Camaro?
Now, hold on, Dito. I watched Mike educating us on these. I can't wait to hear this.
It was a made-up name by Chevrolet, but they said it was kind of like French for friend.
That's exactly right. I knew I couldn't stump you. No, Chevrolet said it ate Mustangs.
Oh, is that okay?
Really loose off of turn 2. The 2 car.
Vince, a great save by Jimmie Johnson earlier on that restart. The car's been more on the free side much of the day. And here's recent conversation between driver and crew chief.
Keep it up, bud. You all right? Yeah, that's all I got. You got more than that. Come on. That was a better lap roll. Did you do something different? Bottom. Nope. Same thing.
Well, you got to let. I mean, we've talked about communication between crew chief and driver and spotter, and we've heard Chad Knaus and Jimmie Johnson go at it at times, and I'm liking what I'm hearing out of them. They're not panicking. They're working really well together, and I think encouraging one another instead of maybe some of the negative things we've heard in the past.
Now compare that to Kyle Busch's voice early in the race when he hated his car. Yeah. When a driver hates his
crashing halt, but inside the top 10, a 9th place finish for Jimmie Johnson. You saw where he was in the standings, and Matt Yoakum caught up with the driver of the 48 moments ago.
Solid performance by Jimmie Johnson and the entire 48 team. Top 10, this is what you guys have been looking to build on.
Yeah, I mean, each week we've been getting a little bit better, and it's been we're definitely not happy with where we are right now, but to see the improvements, we've been seeing it internally, and making the cars drive better and better and getting more competitive. So a strong day for the Lowe Pro Chevy. Definitely not where we want to be, but we're getting closer every week.
What stood out to you most about the trends of the race? Typical Auto Club speedway, or a little bit different this time with the left side tire?
It just seemed like we had more durability with that left side tire on lower tire pressures. I don't believe we had any issues relative to that, and that's something we're always very scared of here, especially on green flag stops when those tire pressures are low. So we didn't have that today, but my guys had great pit stops. Chad called a great race, and we had a good solid day, so we'll take it.
9th place for Jimmie Johnson.
Still the last driver to win 4 consecutive races, Jimmie Johnson, back in 2007. So as we bring in the guys up.
Casey Kane has made it to pit road as the battle is joined for second. Jimmie Johnson.
Hey, let's not forget, a year ago on a Monday, Jimmie Johnson won this race.
Well, he's looking pretty good today. He's a little bit faster than the 11 car right now, trying to find a way around him, and I think he's going to find it right here.
I think his car looks a lot like it did a year ago.
Loose off.
Really turning good.
Kyle Busch trying to repass his teammate Hamlin, and does so.
Seems like Kyle Busch's car not real good on a restart, but after 5, 10, 15 laps, it really comes alive.
Keselowski trying to take advantage. The 66 is up there in the way, and Keselowski uses Chad Fincham as a pick to hold off Hamlin.
Yeah, nice move by Hamlin not to get in the back of that 66, because that was close.
Boy, by the way, Kyle Larson is gone.
Oh, he was. Remember yesterday, he had about a 10 or 12 second lead on everybody when he started up front like he did here just now.
Just like you said, DW, we documented that 18 car. He doesn't like his car for, whatever it is, 10, 15 laps. But boy, when it starts to come in, watch out. He's the only car I see out here right now that can compete with that 42 car. Larson putting the pressure on the 48.
Jamie?
Remember one of the last things we heard Kyle say in the...
Jimmie Johnson does not have a top 5 finish this season, but here at Bristol is the best he's run all season. I'm sure his best finish of 9th is going to be eclipsed by this run today.
Yeah, excuse me. It's treacherous up here. Johnson, you got Larson up there, or Bowman up there. Those cars have been pretty good today.
And here comes Jimmie Johnson
under Stenhouse.
Boy, he's not going to give up easy. He's going to hang tough right on that door.
Well, clean pass.
Remember,
nice.
We saw where Stenhouse really held, I believe it's the 20 of Eric Jones, down really tight, made it difficult, and he's going to make it pretty tough for Jimmie here. I think Jimmie has him now.
I do too. I think that he was going to try to stay down that door, loosen him up a little bit. It didn't work.
Hendrick Motorsports trying to put 2 cars to finish in the top 5 for the first time since Dover last fall.
Rain, sleet, and even vibration with some tires there near the end. You dodged everything today. How big of a momentum booster is this for you and your team as you're going ahead of some great tracks for you?
Yeah, it really is a great boost. I've said for weeks now that we're getting better, and it's great to finally have a result to back that up. We've had decent Fridays, some really good Saturdays, and then some bad luck in the races. And although we had plenty of bad luck through the course of our 4 or 5 days that we've been here, we were able to pull through and get a great, 3rd place finish. So very proud of everybody at Hendrick Motorsports. Thank everybody on the Slows for Pros team, and my family know I'm coming home. Let's get home and get out of here. It's snowing again.
You got it. Thank you, Jimmie. Mike?
It is for him.
You can never count Jimmie Johnson, Chad Knaus, and that 48 team out of anything.
Vince?
Well, remember, they started 23rd, and when I talked to Jimmie today before the race, he said, we qualified terrible. He said, but I'm not worried. I think we're actually pretty good, and I think you'll see that in the race. He was very calm and seemed very confident about his car, and they have been on the move, and they've had a couple of good pit stops, too. They picked up 3 spots on the first stop and did not lose any ground at all on the second stop. So 48 on point in all areas tonight.
Yeah, Vince, when he says he's pretty good at this racetrack at Charlotte Motor Speedway, I'd take that to the bank.
He definitely has a special knack of this racetrack. So far, having the best run he's had all year.
Look at these greats tied with 3 wins apiece. Then look at Jimmie Johnson with 4.
Then,
whoops, there's the man DW with 5.
Where'd he come from?
Trying to take advantage of those fresh tires now.
Boy, Jimmie Johnson going at it with Denny Hamlin here.
I've never seen Jimmie Johnson 3 wide as many times as I've seen him 3 wide tonight.
But you know what I love about Jimmie Johnson? He and Chad, they were having that conversation about the car was doing this, car was doing that. They didn't panic. They just worked on it and got it where it's pretty darn good right now, Vince.
Well, what makes it amazing is that Jimmie just came over the radio and told Chad, he said, I have no grip this run. I'm down 4.1 on the track bar. That is a lot for one run. It doesn't look like it, does it, up there riding the rim?
It really doesn't, and it doesn't matter. You're better than everybody else. That's all that matters.
He just had 3 handfuls of steering wheel in 1 corner.
That's what I've always said makes Jimmie Johnson one of the best, is just how loose he's willing to drive a car and do it lap after lap.
Yeah, I've said that's the hardest car to drive, I think, through the years. It's always right on the edge, always loose. That's what made it so fast.
So Jimmie Johnson is the new race leader coming to turn 3.
Jimmie Johnson's going to lead a lap?
For the first time this year?
I think that's the first one he's led this year.
Well, no, not exactly.
Oh, well.
How about under green?
I was so excited.
And so is he. Landon Castle on pit road, along with William Byron and Eric Almirola.
You saw it, we heard it here at Daytona. The 48 of Jimmie Johnson has moved all the way to the front of the field, and the roar of the crowd here was almost as if Ed Earnhardt had taken the lead at Daytona.
Has his trials and tribulations made him a fan favorite? Are fans cheering for Jimmie Johnson to reach his former glory? Get back to victory lane?
He's led 2 laps all season. Jimmie Johnson, 7-time champion.
We could see it.
2 laps.
We could see the fans going nuts when he took the lead. They loved it.
And now Jimmie Johnson's going to have to fight off that 17 once again. He is up front and challenging. And what a run for the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. On his own, he moved himself up into the top 5, and now he's fighting to get up in the lead. Dave.
Rick, a few trophies for Jimmie Johnson here at Daytona, but the usual procedure was to stay in the garage for most of practice so that he didn't get in any practice wrecks with that race car. Well, the other day, he ran as many practice laps as many of the other cars and got a feel for what his car needed, then went out and qualified third. Jimmie's had a great car all weekend and has a chance to head back to victory lane at Daytona.
Jimmie trying another move.
Jimmie Johnson dives to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to take the lead back away. Side drafts the 34, and Jimmie Johnson back out front.
For him to be able to rebound that quickly from losing the lead and to take it over again really shows me the strength of that car. That's building that confidence inside Jimmie Johnson.
All right, crew chief Steve Letarte, at what time are we starting to think that we'll see them come to pit road?
Rick, I really think...
Let's go to the winning crew chief. Oh, take a look at this. How about this? A 7-time champion. He's going to give him a push. His teammate at Hendrick Motorsports, and again, as I mentioned earlier, 250 wins for Hendrick Motorsports. And the 250th coming at the hands of Chase Elliott. How about that? Well, I mentioned it was going to be the greatest push he's ever had. Tease the fact that the 48 driven by Jimmie Johnson and crew chief by Chad Knaus the entire time. It's been a part of the Cup Series with Lowe's as the sponsor. This will be the final race for that pairing. Chad Knaus and Jimmie Johnson really have very few peers that have been able to do what they have done. 17 seasons together and 81 Cup Series wins, 16 consecutive winning seasons. Now that is on the line today. They still have not won in 2018, but 11 Crown Jewel wins, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, that's how people are measured. That's how you become a Hall of Famer, winning the biggest races and winning championships. That's what we're here about today. Well, how about this? This duo has won seven championships together. I've been fortunate enough in my entire career, guys, to be a teammate to Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus. They set the bar not only for the entire sport, but without a doubt, sharing an office next to Chad Knaus made me a better crew chief. I'm not sure if we will ever see a pairing as dominant as these two. Yeah, I couldn't wait to have the opportunity to work alongside these guys and learn what made them champions, how they had a culture that was all their own. So successful over the years, and here you see the team spending time together this morning to celebrate this last race together. Congratulations from Tony Stewart, a guy who knows all too well what these guys have been through over the years.
So much respect for what these guys have done, really the way they've done it. They've worked hard. Jimmie Johnson's been a clean race car driver. Just so much respect from the people that are in the garage now, but also people like Richard Petty. You hear him talk about Jimmie Johnson, how great of a driver he is, and they've left a mark that'll be hard to ever be matched again.
And remember, Chad Knaus, neither are leaving. They'll both be back in 2019. Chad Knaus is going to crew chief for William Byron, and Kevin Meendering will be the crew chief for Jimmie Johnson for 2019. Let's get a few more updates while they're cleaning the track and before the green flag flies.
After having so much speed in practice this weekend. But we talked about it was also the end of the Jimmie and Chad era, their final race together as driver crew chief. Dave Burns, before the race, they took a team picture, and then after the race, Dave Burns spoke with Chad.
Well, he held the cards a little close to his vest this morning, but after 602 now, Chad, your thoughts on the ride with Jimmie?
It's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of success. Obviously, we've had our ups and downs. There's no doubt about that. But to be able to go 17 years with Jimmie and Lowe's and have this thing happen the way that it is, pretty fantastic. I wish today would have ended up a little better than what it had. It was looking really good for us the first half of the race. We had gotten up into the top 10, and looks like I'm supposed to go do a photo shoot. But we got up into the top 10. Unfortunately, we weren't able to close the deal. So. It's sad ending to a sweet story. How's that?
You ready to go have a beer with these guys?
I've already got one.
Right. Oh, he's got the beer. He is in, and it's time for the celebration.
Okay, there you see taking a little team photo there after the race as well. Dave was busy on the 48 story. He also spoke with Jimmie.
Well, it's the end of an era. Jimmie and Chad go their separate ways. Your thoughts after that final race?
And there's a lot of emotions. There's no way around it. From Lowe's being our sponsor and all the history we have together and their belief in me and us going separate ways, then also with Chad. So I think the magnitude of this will set in as, tonight wears on and the next couple of days. It's been one heck of a ride. 2018 was highly frustrating, highly disappointing for myself, for Chad, this whole 48 team. So next year with a new sponsor, new crew chief, new rules package, looking forward to that fresh start on the 48 car. And I really think Chad is too on the 24. He and William are going to be a great pairing together, and look forward to working very close with William and Chad to help develop William and get this 48 back in victory lane myself.
You and Chad, when the announcement came, talked about the brotherhood way beyond the working relationship. How did that enter your mind as the laps closed down tonight?
It definitely did, and I'd have to say pre-race was probably more so than anything. And when you're in the car, you're kind of focused on doing the job. But there were many times tonight where the magnitude of today hit me from sponsor and with Chad moving on. So a couple deep breaths and go kiss my kids and my wife and get ready for 2019.
Little toast coming up between the two of you, perhaps?
For sure. It's time to have some fun. I'm super excited. I get to travel out of the country tomorrow and go do a Formula One swap with Fernando Alonso. So I'm really excited about that. That'll be a week from tomorrow. So pumped about that. We'll just have some fun.
Thanks for a lot of memories. 17 years, Jimmie. It was big.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.